Right beside Milan Central train station, an unexpected find awaited me. A casual Japanese restaurant seemingly out of place in Italy. Intrigued by this curious blend of cultures, I decided to give it a try. Opting for a Japanese beer, the refreshing beverage set a positive tone for the meal. My choice for the main course was cold soba noodles with dipping sauce. Despite the sauce not living up to its cold promise, it did deliver the authentic taste of cold soba noodles, a delightful blend of soy sauce umami complemented by the heat from the wasabi. My mom's selection of tonkatsu over rice provided mixed feedback. While I enjoyed it, she found the sauce a bit too salty and robust, suggesting a potential dilution for a milder flavor. On the other hand, my sister's order of udon and tempura added another layer of success to the dining experience, rounding off our culinary journey with a mix of flavors and textures. Exploring Milan sights worked up an appetite, leading me to the nearest restaurant where I decided to indulge in a glass of Merlot paired with a classic dish, pasta bolognese. The bolognese proved to be a delightful choice with perfectly cooked spaghetti noodles and a well-balanced sauce that coated each strand impeccably. The generous portion of meat was also a satisfying touch. Meanwhile, my mom opted for a pizza. I think it was a margherita. It was adorned with a substantial amount of cheese, perhaps a bit too much. However, the star of the pizza was its flawless crust, smoky and irresistibly crispy. If I were to choose between the pasta and the pizza, my preference leaned toward the former. The simplicity of pasta really stood out. The pizza, while enjoyable, suffered from an excess amount of cheese. As for the Merlot, it complemented the meal nicely, rounding off the dining experience on a high note. In the heart of Milan lies a hidden gem called Imone, a truly authentic Korean barbecue spot. The name translates to at Aunt's Place, setting the tone for a homey and genuine dining experience. What makes it stand out is their use of real coals to cook the meat, just like you would find in Korea. The doenjangjjigae, a traditional Korean soybean paste stew, was a standout. It captured the true essence of Korean flavors, spicy and piping hot, reminiscent of the dishes served in Korea. Opting for the moksae, a leaner cut of pork compared to your conventional pork belly, proved to be an excellent choice. Wrapping it in the green onion salad added a perfect touch to the whole experience. We couldn't resist trying the budae-jjigae, a Korean army stew, and the combination of ramen and Vienna sausages created a comforting and satisfying dish. If by chance you find yourself in Milan and crave an authentic Korean culinary experience, do yourself a favor and check out Imone. While exploring Rome, I stumbled upon this charming restaurant adorned with vines. Seated and ready for a culinary adventure, I started with an intriguing cola, which was interesting nonetheless. The first dish I got was roasted pork with crispy pork belly skin, and it left a positive impression. Infused with rosemary, it offered a delightful blend of flavors, and the crispy skin added a satisfying textural contrast. Next up were meatballs and tomato sauce. The freshness and acidity of the sauce cut through the richness of the meatballs. In fact, the sauce was so good that I even paired it with the pork. Obviously, it tasted real good. I also tried a pasta filled with spinach and ricotta. It was decent because I don't really like ricotta, but if you like ricotta, I think this dish is pretty good. Nevertheless, the overall experience was a joy, savoring delicious dishes on a sunny day in Rome, accompanied by a refreshing glass of beer. Each bite was a celebration of flavors, making the dining experience a memorable one. Lucerne, Switzerland is an absolute gem. Just take a moment to appreciate this picturesque scene with tranquil river flowing by. Anyways, I stumbled upon this charming restaurant right by the river and decided to indulge in some local delights. Let's start with the sausages. Covered in a thick, savory gravy with onions, the flavor was intense. The gravy was a bit on the salty side, but the sausage itself was delicious. The potatoes resembled hearty hash browns, a thick patty that satisfied the taste buds. Now onto the fondue. As a fondue first-timer, I wasn't quite sure what to expect. It turned out to be alright. The cheese was pungent, which I didn't mind, yet considering it's essentially just melted cheese, the hefty price tag seemed a bit much. I dipped boiled potato into the gooey goodness, and it was decent. I even tried it with the sausage, and it was a predictable combo of cheese on top of sausage. Thankfully, I had a refreshing beer to balance out the richness on the fondue. During my time in Switzerland, I couldn't resist checking out McDonald's just to gauge the prices. The burger I ordered set me back 16 Swiss francs, roughly $21, and a pack of 9 nuggets cost 15 Swiss francs, around $17. Yes, almost double the price. Now, price aside, let's talk taste. They had these delightful potato wedges, crispy on the outside with a fluffy interior. The hot devil sauce accompanying them had a spicy salsa vibe. The chicken nuggets were rather ordinary, and the french fries, while decent, were slightly less salty than their US counterparts. Then there was the star of the show, the raclette burger. Switzerland's love affair with raclette is evident, and McDonald's jumped on the trend with this special burger. However, the reality was a familiar burger patty on a ciabatta bun with a slice of distinctively funky cheese. Interesting, but not perhaps the culinary revelation I was expecting. During my time in Switzerland, one of the highlights was hiking Mount Pilatus, towering at 2,129 meters or approximately 7,000 feet. It was a challenging journey that took me around 4 to 5 hours, leaving me absolutely famished by the end. I grabbed the hot dog to curb my hunger cravings, complete with a generous drizzle of mustard and ketchup. Surprisingly, it hit the spot, especially with those delightful char marks on the bun. To wash it down, I opted for a refreshing Helles beer. While I developed a preference for pilsners during my European travels, the Helles still offered a satisfying thirst-quenching experience. Seeking something heartier, I did indulge in both pork and veggie instant ramyuns. While they were your typical instant ramen fare, they provided much-needed sustenance after the demanding hike. In the end, there's nothing quite like enjoying a cold beer and a hearty sausage after a rewarding and exhausting 5-hour trek. As I embarked on a train journey from Zurich to Paris, I made a quick stop to grab some food for the trip. Opting for convenience, I settled on a sushi place and picked up a variety of items including tonkatsu, sushi, and onigiri. Starting with the tonkatsu. It was decent considering it was train station fare, although a bit soggy. The rice accompanying it was slightly mushy, but acceptable for a quick bite on the go. Moving on to the sushi, I sampled some salmon nigiri, albeit with a thin slice of salmon on top. It was passable, nothing extraordinary, but satisfying enough for the moment. Lastly, I tried the salmon onigiri. It featured cooked salmon mixed with mayo. However, I found the filling a bit sparse, leaving much to be desired. Overall, the sushi place was average, offering nothing particularly noteworthy. Nevertheless, as I glanced out the window and watched the landscape blur by at 317 kilometers per hour, I couldn't help but appreciate the journey ahead. During my time in Paris, I stumbled upon a Korean fried chicken spot, and naturally I couldn't resist giving it a try. We kicked things off with some refreshing beers and indulged in tteokbokki for appetizers. They are essentially fried rice cakes smothered in a sweet and spicy sauce, a classic Korean snack. Then came the star of the show, the Korean fried chicken. We opted for 3 different flavors, yangnyeom, tiger spice, and soyjoy. The yangnyeom boasted a familiar sweet and spicy sauce, juicy and flavorful. Surprisingly, the tiger spice wasn't as spicy as its name suggested, but still very enjoyable. The soyjoy was a delightful mix of sweet glaze over crispy chicken. We also sampled their french fries, hoping for a special sauce, but it turned out to be just spicy mayo. Overall, a thumbs up from me, and I would recommend giving this place a try.